Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world today. Delighted to be joined today by Minister for Parliament, Lorinc. Lawrence, how are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm really good. I'm glad to be here in Pontevedra.
I just managed to grab the Minister here quickly, and I was just asking him a few quick questions before we attend today's Liga conference. Minister, the European Parliament, a lot of my constituents, a lot of my subscribers asking about the future of Ireland. Particularly with your leader, Viktor Orban, being very strong on promoting family values and reinstating Hungarian traditional values. How do you see Europe progressing in the future?
Europe has future if Europe insists and preserve the Christian values. Christian values made Europe a great continent and really successful world-leading continent. And now it seems that in the Western Europe countries, like they forget the Christian values and Christian traditions. We in Hungary, we say that for us, families are first, and life we have to preserve, and the Christian tradition, Christian culture, and Christian freedom, who is not tied by the political correctness, is really a thing that it's a verse to hard work for preserve and defend these values.
And the originator of this way of thinking for Hungary, has this always been a strong tradition in Hungary to maintain the family unit, or did you see the inception of leftist ideology creeping into Hungary?
Look, we are a 1,000 years old country, founded by Saint Stephen King. So it's a Christian country, 1,000 years old country. It's a big thing. It's a huge tradition. But of course, we had more than 40 years of communism. It was really a bad thing, where the communist ideology wanted to destroy all the communities. We believe in communities, and the families are the smallest communities in the society. We have to preserve, defend, and support. And after the communism, of course, we had some socialist and liberal government who didn't promote these values. Actually, they destroyed these values. So now we have to rebuild in our society, but the Hungarian society is really a good one, if I can tell us as a Hungarian politician. But it's a hard work, of course.
And I asked you earlier on, how do we see Europe progressing in the future with Liga now becoming very strong in the European Parliament? Also, Hungary is strong representation, and both Mr. Salvini and Mr. Orban are very outspoken on their criticism of the European Union. Will it survive this nationalist populism increase?
Now we see that the outgoing European Commission made a lot of mistakes. They let the migrants in, they let the Brits out, they made terrible mistakes over these 5 years. And they wanted to create an empire. And Europe is not an empire, Europe is an alliance of nations. And we have to defend our nations, and we have to cooperate in a peaceful and a really fruitful cooperation between nations. But we don't have to forget nations, we don't have to forget these type of boundaries we have, and of course we have to defend our borders.
Would you agree if Ireland was to become more nationalistic in its viewpoint, that the way our Prime Minister, Leo Varadkar, he really put a stumbling block for Brexit with our border between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland, and I think it's backfired on him personally. But with the Irish National Government, do you think there would be room for cooperation between all nation states with nationalistic governments that adhere to family value traditions?
Of course, Ireland is a really great country. I've visited Ireland several times, and I really like Ireland as a country. And I think it's with Catholic tradition, with families in Ireland, Ireland has a great future in the European Union if Ireland can protect and defend the traditions and they can be real Irish and not to assimilate to a European empire.
Exactly that. That's what we feel is happening now. And with the migration flow and most countries signing up to the migration pact, it's really clamping down on freedoms of speech. Do you think that's an important value that all countries must maintain, is freedom of expression and freedom of speech?
Of course, freedom of speech is really important, and as far as I know, and we can see that in Western European countries, the censorship and more likely a real thing. Before 1990s, the Central and Eastern European countries has censorship during the communist regime and during Soviet Union. But now in Western European countries, you are not allowed to say what you really think about migration, about family, about life, about protecting life. So it's a sad thing, but I think we have a hope in the new European Commission. We have a hope in a new European Parliament. We have our hope in really strong member states like Poland or Hungary, or hopefully will be Italy in a new government, not this leftist government. So we have to work a lot, of course, but Europe needs protection and needs values.
Minister, I want to thank you for your time. I know we're just about to start the league conference here. I want to thank you for agreeing to interview
Thank
with me
you very
today,
much.
and Ireland extends its warmest wishes and
Go Ireland.
welcomes Mr. Orban and any of the Hungarian community to come and visit Ireland and say hello to us when we become. Minister, thank you very much for
Thank you.
us, everybody. See you shortly with another interview and another broadcast.
Us.